Hey everybody, and welcome to another rulebook flip through. Today we're going to be flipping through this rulebook right here from Victrix Limited. This one's called Pillage, Ransack the Middle Ages. Now, if ever there was a title that's evocative of what you're going to get in the book, this is probably it. So it's basically a skirmish game. You go in, you loot, ransack, and burn villages. It's very basically a narrative kind of game, and I'm very excited it's in the store. It's always nice to have different ways to play, a skirmish game. Now, when the rulebook first came out, people, at least here in the store, were asking whether it's anything like Saga from Studio Tomahawk. It's not. It's not. It's a different game altogether. In fact, this is more narrative as compared to Saga. Okay, enough of that. Let's go. Let's look at what's inside the book. Now, the one I have is the hardcover book. You can actually have the PDF that you can get directly from Victrix. Some folks just want the PDF, and some books want the book. I like hardcover books, so there you go. Now, this game is made by Guillaume Rossellou. Said that right. We start with table of contents, and then we have the first thing I thought was interesting in this book over here, and that's the fact that they actually tell you the miniatures are from Victrix Limited, they're from First Core, they're from Footsore, Gripping Beast, and Wargames Atlantic. So I thought that was a great way to start, right? To tell them where the miniatures are from, and all the pictures you see here are basically pictures of those miniatures. If you're doing a miniature game, I think this is a great way to do it. Tell the reader where you're gonna get the miniatures from, because some of them are new and have no idea. The ones who are probably veteran could benefit from being a bit more specific in the pictures, but we'll get to that a bit later. Now, we started with a forward from Guillaume, and Guillaume promises this to be an experience, a narrative experience, and he promises this to be quite lethal, and the rules will tell you why. Now, I am very, very sure that this rulebook was written with the newbie in mind, because everything's stated quite clearly. In this rule set, you're playing raids, and it's basically a simple set of rules. And it also gives some advice to the beginner. If is there anything in here that they don't understand, give it time, and you probably get it. They try their best to keep it simple, which is great, because when you get newbies into any game, you're more or less setting yourself up for a little bit of longevity, because some of the veteran players tend to have game ADHD and tend to jump from one game to another. So yeah, writing this for beginners is a really good idea. And nothing is more beginner wise than saying, you got a section for the introduction to the early Middle Ages. This is from Lindisfarne to Stamford Bridge. So it's a basic primer in case the newbie does not know anything about the early Middle Ages. And then you got the breakdown of the timeline, and then what early medieval warrior is, and then all the equipment you need to play. Veteran wargamers will probably flip through this, but the newbie will find this very useful, because at least now the newbie knows what he needs to play, more or less. Okay, moving along. Contents of the book, and here they already tell you what you're gonna get inside. You're gonna get the rules of the game. You're gonna get historical sidebars. You're gonna get how to recruit the army. You're gonna get a scenario section, the hobby section, and the rules actually are broken into basic and advanced, as you can see here, which I think is a great idea. So if you're new, play the basic rules first, and then the sidebar will be where the advanced rules are for you to add on to your gaming experience. Great way to write a rule book. That's what I think. Setting up a game, you got the scenario, you got to choose your troops. It's basically how to set up a game, and you got the key rules. There are three things in the key rules here I thought were kind of interesting, especially for beginners. First off is the WYSIWYG. So what you see is what you get, and I think that's key. Gets key, because if you're new, when you see a bunch of figures across from you, you have an idea. You can be able to weigh the threat level. Also, it opens opportunities to model for the game, which I think is great. That's one. Two, almost almost all of the figures have one hit point except for the character models, which is great because that means you get hit, you die. I mean, it's simple as that. And in terms of armor and attack, it's also quite simple because you know, if it looks like it's heavy armored, it's heavy armored, so it's a bit more difficult to hit. And attacks are just as simple because, you know, one attack, one wound. It's a very simple rule set, and that actually helps, actually, if you think about it, because games go by really fast, and you can rack them up and go again. Now, rolling dice in the game also, for the veteran, you'll understand rolling dice above the score that you need, and here is where you find out how to do that. Now, if you're new, you'd probably be a bit confused, but what you need to do is to get the maximum roll on a die and then do a success again in order for you to roll above the number that you can actually roll on a particular die. If that's confusing, don't worry about it. It's easy. It's pretty easy. For example, if you need to roll above 6, then a success on a 6, you need to get a 6 first on a d6 or 6-sided dice, and then roll to hit again in order to get the extra. But all of this again will be guided as you play the game or as you read the rules. Moving along, we got a nice page of well, nice looking picture here with you know, miniatures in action. And then, you know, the game is basically two troop types, as they mentioned here. It's basically infantry and cavalry. And then there's a little bit of a history here, the origins of the Viking raids. Okay, the game is broken into game turns, right? You got initiative phase, movement phase, shooting phase, melee phase, and then the fire phase. Now, 4 of these are pretty common. The 5th one is unique to this game. So we'll just like rush through this as fast as possible. So initiative phase is who goes first. The movement phase is, you know, who moves first, how far they can move. Unarmored move faster than fully armored. Oh, the other thing about this game is there's no pre-measuring. So when you move, and that's pretty much it. You can't like totally plan the thing beforehand and say, oh, I'm gonna take it back. No, it's not just WYSIWYG, but you know, you can't pre-measure, which is a little bit nice throwback to the good old days of tabletop wargaming. Anyways, you got movement over terrain and stuff like that, and charging, how to make a charge rolls, fleeing and stuff. And then you got advanced rules, and advanced rules are, you know, different kinds of movement, swimming, you know, jumping, climbing and stuff like that. And then a nice splash page where it looks like there's an ambush right here, but very nice looking figures. Again, the figures you can actually get, you know, I wish they were like, you know, little notes here like, oh, this picture has miniatures from yada yada yada, but you know, that would be nice to add on. Anyways, you got the hit rolls and defense rolls, and again, this is dependent on the armor, and you can actually see them on the miniature. I mean, that's what WYSIWYG is all about. So moving along, we got the shooting phase done very quickly, and then a nice piece of art here. Advanced rules for shooting, and then the melee phase, and then advanced rules for melee. Advanced, you know, like I think that this is a really great idea. You let them play, or you can play the basic rules first, and later add on the advanced rules as once you get used to the basic rules. And then you got the cavalry section, and then you got the fire phase. The fire phase is what makes this rule set unique, for me. Now you can set fire to different things in this game. So if you know there's terrain on the table and there's a house and you want to burn it, you can actually burn the house, and the fire spreads, and you know there's rules for fire damage and stuff like that. Nothing is cooler than, you know, doing a raid, going in there, you know, burning down a village and looting it. It's very evocative, very nice narrative thing happening. Under advanced rules, there's morale, which is kind of interesting that they put it in advanced rules. And then you got the pillage rules, and this is basically where you loot, where you find the loot. Running away with the loot is just as important as finding it, just as important as killing your opponent. And then there's rules for transporting loot and stuff like that. This makes the game interesting. It's not just a simple rack 'em up, and let's go at each other. There's actually a little mission that's incorporated right into the game itself. And you got buildings, the different buildings, rules of the buildings, capacity, and then special buildings that you can add on. Now, all characters have only one wound, except certain characters, like for example, the chieftains have more than one wound, and these are all rules for different special characters: berserker, Huskarls, healers and stuff like that. And you got special equipment, banners, the war horn. Now, if you were to get the set from Victrix have released Pillage warband sets. You probably get the banners and stuff like that. So you're pretty much set. If I was you and I was going to get into this, I'll get I get a warband set as well. Moving along, we got special tactics. Shield wall is a special tactic. Second rank is a tactic as well. And then they give you options to battle on ships. So you got the naval battles rules, which is also quite cool. And then the weather, which is very, very charming for me. I thought it was very, very charming that you got this different weather, clear skies, fog, night, snow, and strong winds and heavy rains. And when you choose to do your attack, is also kind of important because certain factions benefit from weather, which I thought that was really, really cool. Anyways, yeah. So you got more pictures of miniatures. Fantastic. Yeah. The book also has art, some really nice art, which I thought complements everything. It's a nice full package. You got miniatures and you got nice art to very evocative looking art and stuff like this as well. The line art all over the book. Now the next chapter is factions, and this is basically breaking down the factions. Now each of your chieftains or your characters can get a talent. Now this talent is basically for your it's the added bonus to your leader, and which you can buy for gold pieces. And gold pieces is basically your points that you need to play against one another, right? Both players agree on a point to battle, and that will be it. And you can use points or gold pieces to build. Now you either spend it on figures or men or infantry or cavalry, or for talents. Now more pictures, very, very nice, more pictures. And then we got the factions themselves, and as you can see over here, the price of each character is here in gold pieces. So you got your basic costs, and then you got if they're unarmored, how much they are, blah 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 blah, and chieftain and berserker, and that's for the Vikings or the Norse. And then you got Anglo-Saxons and their pricing over here. The Normans, the Irish, Scot, and Picts, and then you got the Carolingian Franks, and then the Bretons, and then the Welsh, and a generic warband. Now, next up is chapter 5, and this is playing the game. They teach you how to play a game with two sides, several sides, and how to do the pillage. Now, over right here, I like just say that you can actually, if you decide to play a game at 250 gold pieces, right? It means both agree that each side is going to be built on 250 gold pieces. You can actually play on a 2x2, which is great because this is probably the demo size. Or if you want to play a game really, really, really quick, right? You got like lunchtime to spend, on a game, and you can actually do that. And you can scale it up all the way up to 1,000 gold pieces, where it's much, much, much bigger. And I think that's kind of cool because when it's scalable, it offers opportunity to for a 1 hour, 2 hour game maybe, and then something that's a little bit heavier for 4 maybe hours, 5 hours. Which leads us to the different scenarios you can choose to play. And then they have these scenarios that they actually like set up. Now in each scenario you have your the armies that are involved, the where they deployed, the weather, objectives and stuff like that, and then the map. This is just recommended, of course. You can actually play using this or make stuff up for yourself, but I recommend playing all the scenarios first before moving on to making your own scenarios. Now, but if you're a veteran, player who's played a lot of these games, going through this can be quite fun. But you'll probably end up, as a veteran, making your own scenarios. So yeah, there is here are the recommended scenarios. You got scenario 1, which is pitch battle. Scenario 2, which is pillage. Scenario 3, which is St. Bride's Day massacre. And then scenario 4, landing. Scenario 5 is pilgrimage. I want to say though, most of the terrain in most of the scenarios are quite terrain heavy. So if you're new, you might want to keep that in mind. For the moment, you just use boxes and as to represent houses. Veteran players will probably have like trees and houses lying around. But if you're new, just note that most of the scenarios are quite terrain heavy. So a little bit of hobbying will be great, if you kind of houses, or just get the ready-made houses from different manufacturers. And then you got the section here just for you, the beginner, if you're a beginner. And this is collecting. If you look inside, already in front, they give you a recommendation of different manufacturers, from Footsore to Wargames Atlantic to Gripping Beast, and of course, Victrix Limited, right? Here's how you collect the army, how to assemble, painting, basing, which is great. I mean, if you're new, and you have no club and you just received it somehow, this is a great way in. Now, I know a lot of folks, especially in this region, Southeast Asia, that don't have clubs, and sometimes they're new they either receive this book from the uncle who thinks they could be playing this, or setting them up to play this. So sections like this are really quite good. Back in the early days when I used to start playing different war games, sections like this, and I'd go through them and try to follow them to the T. And then how to build a gaming table and making simple scenery. All these little small gaming hacks, veterans would know, but the newbie will truly benefit from, because making houses by yourself, or scratch build houses, is a whole new hobby on its own. Okay, moving along, you got the reference sheets, tokens, and more. Now, if you scan the QR code, it'll lead you to the Facebook group where you'll actually meet other players who can play. I mean, this day and age, it's kind of great that communities can be built that way. But if you head down to the Victrix website, you can they're actually more scenarios, more army lists and stuff like that. So the idea of Pillage from Victrix point of view is to build a community, and I think they're doing a great job with this. Yeah, so that's pretty much the book. That's the back cover right there. I think this is a really good book. There were a couple of things about the book. The community, jumped on, with the not disclosing the AI art thingy. That's just a minor thing, if you ask me. Victrix has promised that they will disclose the usage of AI art. But all in all, this is a good product, especially for the newbie. For the veteran, I think you will find this one a great game in between your bigger games. So if you're playing like Saga, a huge Saga game, now while waiting to play the next game, or after the game is over and you got a couple of hours to spare, do a little bit of Pillage, because you can actually use the same figures from your Saga to play this game. Also, if you're new and you want to paint, and you paint at a slower pace, starting off with a few figures, a rule set like this would be good for you, right? So so that's pretty much it. I hope you like the flip through and my thoughts more or less on the rule book. Tell me what your thoughts are. Have you tried this? Will you be trying this? Big thumbs up to Victrix for bringing this over from and translating it from the French version. So that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hey, don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.